Welcome back, Buccaneers fans, to another episode of Here the Cannons, presented by BucsGameday.com, Sports Illustrated's one and only website strictly dedicated to your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. My name is Caleb Skinner at CHS Null on X, formerly known as Twitter, as well as our lead editor at BucsGameday.com, River Wells at River H Wells on X. Thank you guys for coming out and joining us tonight. We truly appreciate it. If you guys are watching anywhere other than on YouTube, please head over to YouTube. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button for us. Turn on those notifications. You'll be notified anytime that we are going live. We truly do appreciate it. Also, while you're there, click that like button if you know or if you like what we're talking about here, guys. Truly, truly do appreciate that. And then while you're on YouTube, go ahead, jump in that comment section. Comment anything that you want. We'll bring it on screen if it's worthwhile to what we're talking about. Along with any questions that you might have for myself or River, we got you guys covered here at BucsGameday.com. But with that being said, River, let's go ahead and jump into things. Let's just look at last week. First and foremost, I think if a lot of Bucs fans were to look at this through 4 weeks and, we're 3-1, they'd be pretty happy with, the outcome at this point. But all these games have been close, including last week when it looked like the Eagles were going to run away with it. They ended up not running away with it. Buccaneers kind of made it a game late. Sorts, it ended up only being, I think, a 6-point win for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because of the safety there at the end. Could have been 8.
Yeah.
But still, they made it somewhat of a game. Things to like about it, things not to like about it. But go ahead and give us your thoughts on the Bucs game this past weekend against the Philadelphia Eagles, Rick.
Yeah, it was a weird one because I had the Eagles winning that game by 7 in my predictions, and they won by 6. And if you told me the score, I'd be pretty satisfied with that from a Buccaneers perspective. And the way we got there was really weird. So Bucs never held a lead at any point during that game. It did look like the Eagles were going to kind of run away with it. They didn't. Showed a lot of fight in this Bucs team, but also showed there's a lot of problems that the team has to kind of consider and iron out going forward. Mm-hmm. And they're only playing really good football teams from here on out until the bye week, right? Next week, they got the Seattle Seahawks, which we're going to talk about, of course, the San Francisco 49ers, the Detroit Lions. It's a bit of a murderer's row coming up for them. So it's going to be tough. They're pretty banged up, but special teams has to be better. And I think we talked about this, but offense, I think, just has to be much better. The Buccaneers defense, I thought, did a pretty good job, especially in the second half, limiting the Philadelphia Eagles, and the offense simply could not respond. I think it was definitely an offensive breakdown on that point. Special teams putting them down 7-0 early, not great. Riley Dixon's punting, not great. Chase McLaughlin, money. But, man, that offense, they get the ball back, and they can't do anything with it. I believe 0 for 2 in the red zone after being 1 for 5 in the red zone against the Jets. That's not good. That's a complete offensive breakdown. They're not scoring points. They're not converting third downs at nearly the rate they were last season. Be that because of injuries, be that because of scheme, be that because of anything else, it's a problem. So I think the defense has been playing pretty good football. The secondary looks excellent. Parrish looks bright. Morrison looks bright. Yaya Diaby and Hassan Reddick have been high-pressure guys and been able to get into the backfield and disrupt passers. Elijah Roberts, stepping up for Kalijah Kancey, has been a very good football player, so they hit on that one too. Really nice stuff from that defensive unit.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they gave up the touchdown for special teams with 7 points, and then the short field, right, that they gave up the last time for the last Eagles touchdown. So they've been placed in really short fields, not really able to do what they're meant to do in a comfortable position. And that offense has to be better.
Yeah, it's so hard to nitpick, right? Because you're seeing all these explosive hit plays.
Right, and that's good, but those were the only two. Right. And the first one came. Now, the second one was an absolute dime by Baker Mayfield to Bucky Irving. Phenomenal throw. The first one was really a scramble drill, happenstance, brush past the fingers, touchdown. And that's great. You need to have those to be a good football team, right, guys?
Right.
You need to be able to get that ball to guys like Emeka, Egbuka, and it's kind of like the old golf saying, being as long as your worst shots are playable, then you're playing good golf. That's kind of where that thing lies, right? That was not Tampa Bay's worst shot. There were far worse shots. So that's great that they can do that. They have a will to win. They have a grit in them that they can keep themselves in games, but they need to be able to execute like a normal football team on offense. And so far, they haven't really been able to do that at a super high clip. So scored 20 points against the Texans. Great defense, granted. Scored 23 against that Falcons defense. They got to be able to put up some more points, I think, and they're going to want to do that.
Yeah, and I wrote about it, I think a couple weeks ago about how porous, that red zone efficiency has been.
Yeah.
And it's something that rears its ugly head. And you got to be able to convert points, when you're there inside the 20. And the Baker Mayfield interception is just brutal down there. Yeah, it was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was tipped. But it
was a bad idea.
If you look at the all 22, there's no reason to be throwing the ball there in the first place. Yeah, he might have had him open in the back, but there's probably about 3 defenders there ready to jump all over that pass.
I cannot believe I'm being slammed in these comments here by my buddy Bryce, who plays golf with me enough to know I'm terrible at it. Why do you have to do that? That's not necessary. And by the way, I would argue, you say from time to time, it's most of the time it's bad. There's not a lot of Emeka Egbuka deep shots there off the tee box for me. But
yeah,
it's got to be more. Go ahead.
I'm more of a mid-range guy myself.
Yeah, I'm a whatever range a complete slices is what my range is. They just got to be more consistent, unlike myself, or like myself, but the other way around. They got to be able to really move the ball efficiently, and when they're in the red zone, that to score more often than not. And they made bank on that with Liam Cohen. And Liam Cohen's offense in Jacksonville is still flourishing, and they need to be able to maintain that momentum with Josh Grizzard. And it's been tough with Josh Grizzard, right? Because he's had so many injuries to deal with. No Mike Evans against the Eagles. Second part of the line, the right side of the line, it's still Charlie Heck and Luke Haggard, which is not good.
Dude, they're getting eaten alive over there. They're getting eaten up.
And it's looking like Haggard's going to be the guy going forward. So we'll see how that goes. But until Gedeke gets back, that right side is not as bolstered, right? So it's tough, man. And you got to use tight ends to chip and to help in the blocking, and that limits your play calling ability severely. There's been very few tight end targets for the Buccaneers across the first 4 weeks, and it's mostly because they're being very selfless in the pass game and helping block. But that limits some weapons. It limits your variability on the offense and what type of plays you can call, right? And so that hurts Grizzard. But even still, and they'll tell you when you go to One Buck Place and you interview these guys and you ask them about this, they'll say the same thing. They'll say this happens in football, right? And it does. So you need to find a way to get into the end zone. You can't be 1 for 9 across 2 weeks, right? So I believe it's actually 1 for 7 across 2 weeks. You can't do that, you know? And to go into a game knowing that your offense is a red zone scoring percentage of 36.36, that's 29th in the NFL, that's not going to win football games. It's not.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, special teams is a very big thing, guys. It's bad. It's causing them to lose football games like they did against the Eagles. You're down a whole 7 points early. Blocking is not good. It's a complete fundamental breakdown on the kicking team on all facets. That's bad. But the offense is not doing enough. And I think, look at the defensive stats here. Number 3 in the league in third down percentage, 32.65. Number 9 in the league on fourth down percentage. Number 15 in red zone scoring, largely because of what happened against the Eagles. Yards per game, 4th in yards per game. They're playing good football. This offense is not doing them any favors.
Yeah, you've got to pick it up somewhere. And getting back to that third down efficiency thing that you were talking about earlier too, is that was Josh's baby last year, right? Like that was Grizzard's baby last year. Like he was
not happening,
and he led the league at third down efficiency just 1 season ago. Obviously, his role within the offense has changed drastically, and he's got a way more responsibility on his shoulders as the play caller, the full-time play caller. Just got to figure it out. It's great that you're 3-1 without having it completely figured out at this point.
Oh boy, is it!
But you're gonna have a tough stretch of games coming up here in the next few weeks that you're gonna really need to have that offense working no matter how good the defense is, you're going to be facing offenses that can put up points, right? One way or another. The Eagles' offense, pretty putrid if you really think about it. They haven't been able to throw the ball. If Saquon's not getting any running volume, they're, shut down there too. And I'll give the Bucs credit there. Voss, credit there. They held them pretty much in check all game, and that's good. I really
that's never been a problem there.
Never a question on whether you could stop a team. Last year, that was the big question coming into this season, right? Are we going to be able to stop teams? Now we're able to stop teams from, making us look like fools and hitting those explosive plays. And now we can't do anything on our end, and we can only hit explosive plays and not convert in the red zone, which we were extremely good at last season. But moving on from there, we had touched on it a little bit, but it's becoming a glaring issue for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on a weekly basis, to the point that former head coach, still front office guy, Bruce Arians, went on the Pat McAfee show and made comments himself about how putrid the Tampa Bay Buccaneers special teams is outside of punt returner Cameron Johnson, which all props to him, man. There was some time we were like, maybe he's falling off after that one good return, but backed it up with a few this past week against the Eagles. But go ahead and give the synopsis on what we're seeing from special teams, what needs to change. There's been 2 blocked punts, a blocked field goal, and I feel like I'm missing something else, a doink on an extra point or something.
In week 1, everything except for kicking.
And there's a potential competition on the horizon too. Touch on that.
Yeah, Chase McLaughlin had a rough first week, and then maybe a little bit of a shaky second week. Bounced back, right? 65-yarder, bang on, good stuff. Are the K-balls juice? The people want to know. We don't know. It's possible. It's been a point of conversation.
Somebody did a whole breakdown on Twitter. It's like a super long thread about
you don't know if Fangio seems to think so. Who knows? Blocking is bad. Returns, Cam Johnson has been doing pretty well in the return game, but protecting your punter is not going well. The middle is caving in on itself. And Riley Dixon has had trouble punting when he does get the ball off with some shanks and yardage. And there's been some discussion on whether or not he punts too slow. He's got a wind up time basically when he punts. Should be known that when he came into this year, he was the active leader in blocked punts. And now he's got 2 more to his name, which sucks. Thomas McGaughey, who was with the New York Giants before being hired with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. His Giants were also a top team in getting punts blocked. That combination means that you get a lot of punts blocked. So that's got to change there. I don't know. It's, talking with guys like, great beat reporters here in Tampa Bay, Greg Allman, Rick Stroud, when you're just kind of in the room for an hour at practice because they practice, we go in, and then we wait for like an hour and 10 minutes where we get to go to the locker room. You can't really change too much, right? So I think you can't have a whole scheme change from week to week. You can't be speaking a different language right after that. So, if push comes to shove, you need to fire your special teams coordinator, whatever. It's going to be the same type of scheme. But they got to look at film. They got to do something. They got to figure out whether they're not blocking correctly. Injuries have maybe something to do with that, with guys who can't be on those teams, like, Ko Keith being out for the year, yada, yada.
There's got to be a point at some point where you just got to be like, okay, enough of that excuse, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, do you want to max protect and bring your gunners in to help with that and sacrifice the return? You can. How do you fix this in a span of a few weeks? It's a huge problem. There's a lot of blocked kicks and punts right now. The Bucs have a lot. They've had 3, a field goal and 2 punts. That's bad. So they got to do something. They got to figure out something scheme wise. If they got to, release somebody after this week, maybe they do. I would say if something happens against Seattle, there will be a reckoning in that room, and a few people might lose their jobs. But you never know. Maybe they can straighten it out. Maybe they can get things together, look at the film, figure it out. Injuries maybe have a part of it, but it's not just injuries. It's poor scheming. It's poor coaching. It's bad.
Yeah.
So it's just about everything.
Top down.
Except for McLaughlin's been money. McLaughlin's been money.
You might not be able to hear him in the locker room when he's talking, but you'll know that he's gonna do his job.
If you're not up front for Chase, he's a soft-spoken man, but
He
been
is,
excellent. He's been excellent. He's been hitting his kicks. He's been getting it done.
Hey, NFL record holder now, so good for
outdoor
longest outdoor field goal in NFL history by Chase against the Eagles at 65, which is nuts. Watching that live is probably one of the coolest things because they're really gonna send Chase out here. Like we've got all the belief in the world. Coaching staff's got all the belief in the world that Chase can hit that long field goal, but you're in a pressure cook situation in the middle of a game, and you're asked to go on there and crush a 65-yarder, and he did it. It was awesome to see it go through. Good for him. I'm really proud of the way he's bounced back. Just doing his job, understanding that kickers have a short leash in this league to begin with at this point, because if you're not, crushing it accuracy and distance at this point, you might as well go on and get the heck out. I mean, look what happened with Atlanta and Koo over there. So
it's tough for a kicker. Sometimes if you've lost it, you've lost it. But Chase got it back, and kudos to the Bucs coaching staff for believing in him. And he mentioned that as well, after a rough few weeks. And boy, has he delivered. So
yeah. Got to give it to him. Punting's got to get fixed. We got to get the ball off sooner. It just looks like forever when Riley when the ball is hiked and when Riley's getting that ball off. It's just like, okay, when's it gonna happen? When's it gonna happen? And I know a lot of people are talking about it, but
they'll look at everything. And like you mentioned earlier, they brought in some punters to look at. Ryan Stonehouse, who was an excellent punter for the Titans, and then had a brutal leg injury. That's kind of
that was him.
Yes, kind of put his future as a punter in doubt. He did end up punting the next year, but obviously the range drops off, the distance drops off. So Todd Bowles talked to us today, and he mentioned, if you get a new punter, you want to be able to protect the new punter. And right now, I guess they don't feel like they can do that. So they tried out some guys, didn't sign anybody just yet. Riley Dixon has a week or two to kind of try and get into a rhythm, but he's just got to do better. You had that shank in his second punt during the Eagles game. And again, guys, this could also really be tied to blocking. If you don't trust the blockers and you see them steaming ahead at you and the middle and the contain falls through, then you're gonna punt poorly. But right now, as it stands, against Philly, he had a 36.7 yards per punt. That's got to be better. So just got to be better overall.
Yeah, I think the shank was like 23 yards.
Yeah, it was bad. There was a penalty that helped a little bit. But
yeah. Great. But yeah, we're going to keep it negative here for you guys just for a moment longer before you dig into what's going on in week 5 here against the Seattle Seahawks. That negativeness is going to be, again, here we are for the 4th week in a row talking about injuries, Trevor. Are you excited?
You counted?
We're almost to a handful.
2, 3, 4. There we are. Yeah, it's bad.
Hold on, this week on Buccaneers injuries, it's from last game. Obviously, we all know what's happened previously, and everybody, so I don't need to go over that. Bucky Irving, starting running back, seen in a walking boot today at walkthrough practice. Very important to remember that. Benjamin Morrison kind of having a hip / groin / something in that area. I don't want to say hip because I just get all nervous talking about Benjamin Morrison's hips. And then also on top of that, everybody else, Jamel Dean, obviously went down too. So it just keeps piling up for the Bucs, and you can say next man up as much as you can, but at some point you're going to start.
There's no man. Yeah, I think that's the problem. Yeah, 13 people with a designation, 9 with a did not participate on today's injury report. For the folks at home, that's not good. Some of these guys will play, and some of these guys, I think a lot of these guys, the injuries, from what we understand, aren't super bad. Greg Gaines, non-participant, but it's looking like his injury's not too bad. Hassan Reddick was initially diagnosed, I guess, on the field and over the PA with a concussion, or he was being evaluated for one. Not the case. It was a neck stinger. So not in protocol. He was able to talk in the locker room against the Eagles.
Great news, because we didn't hear any other.
There was no update on Reddick after that. So next stinger, see how he ends up playing. From what we understand, Benjamin Morrison's hamstring isn't too serious, but again, some of these guys might not play this week, and that wouldn't be great. Bucky Irving's been the name, and it seems like we haven't gotten any new information on Bucky Irving. Todd Bowles said day to day. Adam Schefter said week to week. What it does seem like is it's not a severe sprain. I wrote an article on this, kind of going over what that would look like. Not a lot of info out there on what foot sprains can be recovery time wise, but there have been some foot injuries we've seen, and there's a lot of different things that can happen with a foot. But like Zach Charbonnet for the Seahawks, right? Hurt his foot in week 2, didn't play in week 3, did play Thursday Night Football.
2 touchdowns, or one callback, but
right. So if that's the best case scenario, I think that's a great scenario, but it's hard to tell exactly what's going on there. They're not giving us too much info. It doesn't seem like they know a lot. Interestingly enough, we asked Todd Bowles for some updates and some other players' MRIs that got them, like, Benjamin Morrison got one. We know, guys like Greg Gaines got one. And he said no updates at this time on Wednesday, which is interesting. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but
it's Todd.
It doesn't seem like there's a lot of severe long-term injuries on this list. And you guys might also, I'm going to nip it in the bud here. You see a Baker Mayfield knee and right biceps do not play. He will play. You would quite literally have to saw that dude's leg off to get him to not play. He spoke to us today. We asked him how he's feeling physically, and he looks at you and goes, good. And that's where we're at. So I think Baker Mayfield absolutely will play. I don't know about, I would anticipate Irving is out. I don't know about guys like Morrison or Gaines or Reddick or some of these limited guys or Dean. I mean, he's walking around, but at a walkthrough, you can't really tell what's happening. Right? So many of these guys are still question marks. And unlike in weeks past, in my opinion, we usually have a good idea of where everyone's at injury-wise about at this point after they go through their medicals and take their MRIs, and we don't. So really hard to tell where some of these guys are at. Hopefully some of them can go and play, but I wouldn't expect Bucky Irving, if he's in a boot and crutches on Wednesday, that would be tough, probably.
Yeah, very, very highly doubtful, I would imagine.
Yeah, you just gotta hope Irving can play, or not Irving. You gotta hope Benjamin Morrison maybe can play. You gotta hope maybe Jamel Dean's healthy enough at corner. If Morrison and Dean can't play, you're in trouble. You'll have to kick Parrish outside alongside McCollum. You'll
move
throw someone else there.
You probably have to move Tyke down because Izzian is still hurt.
Is Izzian still hurt? Right. It's a domino effect. It's a brutal domino effect. So, yeah. Yeah.
And the reason we might not know, like, some of these MRIs might have come back with nothing. Some of them might have come back with
exactly.
Some of them might have come back with a little something, but it might be something so minuscule that it's up to a pain tolerance thing or whatever it may be. So it's
a lot of times MRIs are there to confirm what you already know, right? Especially for players' agents, for players themselves. If you get diagnosed with a foot sprain, you probably know you have a foot sprain. You just have to take an MRI to confirm that's the case. So
yeah, absolutely. And I think a big note here too is with Bucky being injured, this is why you don't trade Rachaad White in the offseason.
There you go. Yep. There you go. I mean, you can do far worse than this backfield, Rachaad White and Sean Tucker. Rachaad White will probably play somewhere else after the season, and he'll probably start. So, I mean, that's a good thing to have when your starting running back goes down, because then you have a guy like Rachaad White, great pass blocker. He's gotten a lot better as a runner, I think, for sure. Good route runner in the passing game. He can do all those things that Josh Gazard wants him to do.
And then you add a guy like Sean Tucker, who's your 3 back, who probably could be a number 2 back at a lot of different places. I mean, Lord knows the Houston Texans could use some backs right about now, or whoever else is down.
I picked up Woody Marks on my waiver wire.
Oh, I did too, bro. Really happy about that.
Absolutely.
Really happy.
Absolutely. See, you get it. You get it. You know what we're talking about.
Yeah, you could go way worse than Rachaad White and Sean Tucker when you're missing your star running back, if you will. So, fortunately for the Buccaneers, the gamble, or not really a gamble, but the decision to hold on to Rachaad, not trade him this offseason, big move. But again, as River mentioned, he could be on his way out, more so likely than probably at this point following the season. But this is why you have him. This is why he's gonna, this is his opportunity to prove what he's worth to prove out to other teams or prove to the Bucs that, hey, you still need to keep me. This might be his time, whether that's Bucky being out for one game, whether that's Bucky being out for two, whatever it may be. It's going to be that. The injuries are brutal. We know it's brutal, but the Buccaneers have played well throughout the injuries, no matter who has gone down. Chris Godwin looked pretty solid coming back last week, albeit, the drops, but we know Chris is going to correct that. He has corrected that his entire career. Anything that's gone wrong, he's been able to correct and, move forward and been able to be better. But with that being said, we've got a game on the docket again here in week 5. The Atlanta Falcons are on a bye, so this could give you a chance to be able to get another leg up here in the NFC South, to go up there and go out to Seattle. It's going to be a long road trip. The Seattle Seahawks are, quietly making their way into one of the top ranked or top power ranking of teams in the NFL, sitting at 3-1 this year as well, being led by Sam Darnold, who has a lot of ties similar to Baker Mayfield, both playing with the Panthers. Obviously, Baker being a defensive end back then when Darnold was that quarterback, but dang, I thought I was going to get a chuckle out of you, River, but it didn't.
No, it's true. It's true. They talked about it.
They talked about it. And then obviously both of them resurrecting their careers with different franchises. Darnold with the Vikings last season, and then Baker with the Bucs. Really intriguing. Obviously, River's favorite thing to be talked about during this matchup is going to be the uniforms. So I'll let you start with that, and then let's get into the thick of things, because I think this is a very good challenge for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because Seattle's kind of slept on, but a good squad.
I think the secret's probably out on Seattle, to tell you the truth. You look at their stats right now. On defense, they're second in points per game. They're second in points per play. They're third in yards per play. They are second in opponent TDs per game. They're excellent on the offensive side. They're sixth in points per game. They're eighth in yards per play. They're a very good, well-rounded team. They have 10 days of rest that they're playing on Thursday Night Football.
They didn't look good in that game, but again,
no, it's Thursday Night Football.
Thursday Night Football.
But Sam Darnold has been a revelation. He's playing some of the best football in the NFL right now. Jaxon, smith-njigba has stepped up to the challenge of being a number 1 wide receiver excellently.
Hey, OSU boys. Huh?
Yes, there you go. This is a really hard football team to play. They're excellent. They're well coached. They're firing on all cylinders. So you're going to have to pull out your best game to be able to beat them. And that's going to be tough for the Buccaneers, for sure. It's going to be a tough one. Like Donald of create those cogs that makes the machine. We kind of talked to emeka, egbuka today. He said it reminds him of the Houston Texans defense, which is arguably the best defense in the NFL, in the way that they can all play. So really tough stuff. Getting into fixing your red zone problem against this team might be a little tough. They're 6th in red zone scoring defense. So finding a way into the end zone, that's a tough ask. But you got to look at the film. You got to see where they're weak, and if you can keep the game close. We know that Baker Mayfield and the gang have come out and made it happen. So Richard brings a point here. This has to be a good Cade Otton game. The tight ends have been invisible all year so far in the passing game. Now, Jock has credited guys like Cade Otton, saying very selfless, very good in the run game, helping chip guys because of the lack of offensive linemen. But I think you're right, Richard. I think, you need more weapons against this team. You need as many as you can get, because they're very fast. They play with a very aggressive nature. And you just have to attack them on all cylinders because they're going to bring it. They're well-rounded. They're good everywhere. Honestly, right now, it's looking like they're one of the NFC's top contenders until proven otherwise. So a lot of us thought maybe this game would be not a good game because the Seahawks we thought would be okay at the beginning of the season. Not the case. They're
not the case anymore.
yeah, so tough.
Yeah, it's I don't even know what to think because like I haven't watched a whole lot of Seattle. I haven't paid a whole lot of attention to them in the off season because it's just like you've got a bunch of boring, let's just go play ball guys. Like it's not anybody who's out there flashy. They traded DK this offseason.
JSN's been pretty flashy.
Yes, and on the field, yes, but he's still not going to come out there and talk, or he's not like one of those. He's not one of those guys. Like with DK, they had one of those guys, right? Like everybody's talking about DK. Everybody's going to do this. He's not a CD Lamb. He's not a George Pickens. He's not, one of those guys. He's kind of like a Mike Evans, Chris Godwin type. You're not going to get a lot of talk about him, but he's going to go out there and do his job, and he's going to do it very well. And the Buccaneers, if they were without Benjamin Morrison and Dean, like you said earlier, River, it could cause problems.
Good luck, have fun.
It's not going to end good. Yeah, Zion's probably going to be covering JSN most of that game, but at the same time, you got to worry about their other wide receiver, which give or take whatever you get with Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, you guys remember Cooper Kupp? He's on that team.
Whichever Cooper Kupp you get, he's either going to go off or he's not going to do. He's going to have like 3 catches for 40 yards, and that's going to be his day. So without 2 starting caliber cornerbacks in Dean and Morrison, that could cause a whole mix-up. Not saying that playing Parrish on the outside is a problem, but you're asking a rookie who has spent all offseason, all training camp, everything playing nickel to switch right back outside and have to cover whoever it might be, right? So it's kind of a challenge when you make a switch like that. The thing is, Jacob Parrish, I have a lot of trust in. I don't know why. I just feel like he's kind of one of those pros.
I think you should know why. He's been excellent.
He's a pro. Like he just goes out there and does his job. He's
a defensive rookie of the year candidate for sure.
He doesn't talk. He doesn't care about the cameras. He's very steady going. Just wants to go play ball, I guess is the best way to put it. Like that's I see him go out there. I see him take care of business. I see nobody go his way, and then that's it. So I wouldn't be worried about him all that much at all. But it would be hard because then you got to worry about the nickel. Who's going to do that? Tyke coming down. Then who do you place at safety? And now you're getting in the depth. Then you're getting into changing of positions, and it's kind of like shuffling around that offensive line early in the year. So it's a little tough. Marcel bringing up a point here, pressuring Seahawks quarterback and Sam Darnold, and the Bucs are going to leave with a win. I think that's going to be important. We have seen Darnold kind of fold under pressure, dating back a little bit. He always used to fold under pressure. So if you can get into Darnold and rattle him a bit, you might be okay. You're gonna make him get rid of the ball a little bit sooner than he thinks, or maybe his feet get a little choppy. His fundamentals, his details aren't all there. He's taking his eyes off of his checks or whatever it may be. I agree with that. If you can have Hassan Reddick back, hopefully healthy, him and Yaya continue to get these pressures, that'll be good. Seahawks got a strong offensive line, but the Bucs have played strong offensive lines, and they went up against a strong offensive line last week and pretty much stymied in offense. I know the Eagles still put up points and everything, but most of that was because of the positions that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers put themselves in, not because of what Philadelphia was trying to do.
Yeah, and I mean, I think defense is now. I should actually, before I say this out loud, if Morrison and Dean are both out, that's bad. But assuming that one of them's good or they're majorly healthy, I'm not worried about the defense. They've played some really good opponents. They have shown out. They've put on that pressure. Their secondary has been good. The offense has to find a way to score against this McDonald defense, man. And that's a tough thing to want to do. But they have to. And they have to figure out a way to prove that they can be that offense from last year. And I'm not talking top 5. I'm talking top 10 would be how you win a Super Bowl and how you can do that with these injuries, and it's tough, but everything's tough. So winning in the NFL is tough no matter who you got. So they're going to have to find a way to do what the 49ers did and beat this team by putting us a point. Now, the 49ers only put up 17 points and won that game. You're probably not going to limit the Seahawks team to 13 anymore outside of week 1.
Yeah.
It's going to take a little bit more than that. So,
Yeah.
It's possible. It's not probable, but it's possible. Yeah.
I mean, it's a road game. You're going up there to the Space Needle country, and it's going to be loud.
It is the Space Needle country, yeah.
It's going to be loud. They're going to bring it, especially with the throwback uniform game, throwing it back to 1976.
Beautiful. Now, Caleb, I'm going to jump in here. If you know me, you know I've talked about it. My favorite throwback uniform in the NFL is that Seattle Seahawks blue. Probably my second favorite throwback uniform in the NFL is this Tampa Bay Buccaneers white creamsicle. This will, right there, you see it. This will feed families. It's exquisite. It's art. When this game is over, we need to put this in the Louvre and just hang it there. It's beauty incarnate. Some are saying maybe the best NFL uniform matchup ever. Who knows? It's possible.
Dude, I wish I was going so I could see the amount of photogs on the field. Like,
it's gonna be gorgeous. Gorgeous.
The whole sidelines is gonna be wrapped with photogs.
I can't wait. It's gonna be a feast for the eyes. It's gonna be a feast.
Getty, USA Today, everybody's gonna be.
Bring them.
Everybody's gonna be there. But yeah, great uniform matchup. Crowd is gonna be rocking. I think what time kick? 4 o'clock kick.
4:05.
4:05
Eastern time. There was a little thing where potentially this wouldn't have worked out because the Seattle Mariners are set to begin their ALDS series against either the Guardians or the Tigers. I haven't actually been checking on how that's been going.
No, it is. The series is tied 1-1. It'll be a game 3 tomorrow between the two.
Okay, so with that in mind, one of those teams is going to play the Mariners, who I believe are the only MLB team to never appear in a World Series. Win, appear?
Win, maybe. I don't know. I feel like they had to have been there. I mean, they've had so many good players, and you're Googling right now. I know you are.
I am. Of course I am. No, they have not. I was right about that. They have never appeared in a World Series. They're going to try and do that. But that could have potentially kicked off the Bucs-Seahawks game and made it delayed. We got confirmation from Todd Bowles himself today. Not the case. They will play at 4:05, which means that the league has already decided the Mariners game will not take place at 1 local, which is what this game will take place in. So you guys get ready. Your plans can remain. You can get everything ready. It's the same kickoff.
Yeah, shout out the Loose Cannons group heading out there with I think over 100 plus fans that have signed up for their trip and everything. So the Bucs should be well.
As Richard mentioned in the comments here, it is Emeka Egbuka's homecoming. Emeka told us today he's got a ton of family coming. His one condition, he has a ton of family that are Seahawks fans. He says they all have to wear Buccaneers gear if they want his mom's tickets. So you'll at least see that contingent out there. He'll be excited for that. It's a shame that Jalen McMillan is not healthy because, of course, that's a homecoming game of his own, going back to Washington where he played college football. Vita Vea going back to Washington where he played college football. Cade Otton going back to Washington where he played.
I was going to say JTS, but he's no longer here.
No, he's not. He's playing very little snaps for the Cleveland Browns.
Who are we missing?
Yeah, so that was another UW guy that Jason Light brought in. But should be fun one. I hope at this point, and this doesn't sound good.
Oh, you forgot Devin Cole.
I did. And you know what? With Keefe injured for the season, unfortunately, Cope is probably going to be active and ready to go for these next few games, so he will get some playing time. It sucks to hear as a fan, but I think, honestly, if you can remain competitive in this game with the injuries you have against a really good football team on the road, they have 10 days rest. The deck is stacked against the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Pretty heavily. if you can be competitive and get healthy, you might be able to do some noise down the road. And maybe this is another team, guys. The Eagles are one of them. This is another team you might see again in January. So, see what happens.
If they pick up this win, watch out.
That would be nice. That would be get to 4-1. If the Bucs can stack as many wins as they can early with as many injuries as they have, be huge.
You're going to run into a 49er squad very soon. You're going to run into the Saints very soon. So if you pick up this win and you get, a beat up 49er squad, you get, the Saints who are the Saints. And I think there might be another game in there that I'm like,
Not until the bye. You do get the big bad Detroit Lions in week 7. But the 49ers are having problems with Brock Purdy right now being healthy. He will not play again after playing against the Jacksonville Jaguars last week. He will be out this week. And then you've got the New Orleans Saints, who are the New Orleans Saints. At that point, the Lions are the only competitive team probably you've got there, and you could stack some wins early. This would be a big one.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. I know you are. Everybody probably should be excited for this one. I don't think I have much more to say about that, River. So you got anything to part us off with tonight?
I might say fire the cannons, guys. I think I will. Yeah.
You might. All right, brother. Do it one more time for the people.
Fire the cannons.